Let's get more on the story and speak to Ed Augustin, who is live for us now in Havana. Ed, it's approximately just after 5 a.m. in the morning, so presumably there'll be some people who will be waking up to this news for the first time. I mean, what is the reaction in the country likely to be to the death of Fidel Castro?
Yes, as you say, right now, or in an hour's time, people are going to be starting to wake up to the end of a huge chapter, the end of an epoch. The reaction will be multifold. It will depend who you speak to. There are a lot of people in Miami, as I've just said on your channel, saying that the reactions of the Cubans will be this way or that way. But of course, in Cuba, there are people with all shades of opinion. I can only speak for the people that I come into contact with, my neighbors, my friends, people I know in Cuba. And most people who I've spoken to are sad. Not only people, and I know people like it, who are doctrinaire and say everything in Cuba, if there are any problems, it's all because of the empire, the United States, but also people that are sharp, turned on, deeply critical of the many failings of the Cuban state, who will say, yeah, there are so many shortcomings here, and that I can't achieve many of my dreams, but I'm deeply sad that Fidel Castro has passed away, because he's always been a titanic figure in our lives.
Let's focus firstly on his achievements. What will people remember in terms of his legacy? I mean, it was a tiny country, but he really put it on the global map, didn't he?
Yeah, that's very well put. Yeah, I mean, before the Cuban Revolution, Cuba was a Caribbean backwater that had been a Spanish colony. Sugar plantations, slavery was only abolished in 1886, and then from the start of the 20th century, right up to the Cuban Revolution, it was effectively a neo-colony. It was ruled economically and through indirect channels politically by the United States. So the Cuban Revolution was really a moment when Cuba, in an authentic, meaningful way, became sovereign, became a sovereign nation. And of course, the Cuban Missile Crisis, Bay of Pigs, the tensions of the Cold War put Cuba on the map and put Fidel Castro shoulder to shoulder with the greatest statesman. It was really a phase in history that broke all of the rules. What right does a country with only, at that point, less than 10 million people have to be shoulder to shoulder with the United States, standing up to the United States, resisting dozens of attempts to overthrow it? Things like this hadn't happened before. And I think Fidel Castro will be remembered both by those who appreciate him and by his detractors as a titanic figure in history. He put Cuba on the map.
And as you mentioned, I mean, he was a real thorn in the backside of the United States. You know, so many attempts to try and assassinate him, nearly a nuclear war between the two countries. I mean, given what has been achieved in the last 2 years politically, the restoring of relations, I mean, it is quite incredible how far they've come.
Yeah, or perhaps the United States was a thorn in his backside, would be another way of putting it. No, in Cuba, the 17th of December 2014, so almost 2 years ago now, is known by that. It's known as 17D. It's known as a real epoch-changing day. Perhaps yesterday, the death of Fidel is going to be known will be remembered as November the 25th as well. But yeah, change has been very, very quick. It was an incredibly well-orchestrated campaign in the sense that the Obama administration managed these negotiations completely secret, and there are so many people that would have happily blown the whistle and ruined the negotiations. And the change since then has been very quick. You now have the first direct commercial flights flying from the United States to Cuba, bringing US tourists. They're not allowed to be called tourists, but they really are tourists here. That wasn't happening on this scale before. US ships are now here. AT&T, Verizon, Sprint, big US multinationals investing millions here. Things like that would have been unthinkable just 2 years ago.
Okay, Ed, I really appreciate your thoughts. Ed Augustin there joining us live in Havana.